Welcome to Fatherhood for the Rest of Us with Brandon Handley. Because you're already great at everything else, why not fatherhood too?
Hey there, and welcome to Fatherhood for the Rest of Us. This is Brandon Handley. I am the creator and founder of Fatherhood for the Rest of Us. I want to say thank you for choosing to spend your time with me today on Fatherhood for the Rest of Us. I also want to just encourage you, if you could, to go over to the podcast on iTunes, download it, subscribe to it, and leave a review if you have found any part of this at all to have an impact on your life. That will help others to find the show and listen to it and get the same type of enjoyment that you are out of it. Also, if you are a father and if you're looking for a place that you can go celebrate fatherhood or perhaps even share some struggles and get some advice or find some like-minded men, I strongly encourage you to stumble on over to Fatherhood for the Rest of Us, the private Facebook group, and ask to join. I'll let you right in. That's going to do it for right now, guys. And please stay tuned for today's podcast.
Again, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hey there, Fatherhood for the Rest of Us. It is Brandon Handley, the voice of a generation. I know it's been a bit, but I'm still around, and I am happy to present to you today the creator of Fearless Fatherhood, Klaas van Oosterhout. So how'd I do with that, Klaus? Was that all right?
Man. Sure.
Oh, excellent, man. What's great about Klaus is that he is a Dane. You're Danish, right? You're
Dutch.
a Dane? Huh?
Dutch.
Is that different from Dane?
Oh, yeah.
Is it? What the hell do I know, man? So, but and you live in Spain, right?
That's absolutely correct. Yeah.
Right. So, so I know another guy out this way, similar story, and so I asked Klaus. I said, "Man, there are a lot of Dutch who live in Spain," and you said,
"Yep, there's plenty of us around." Yeah, absolutely. We travel all around the world, man. We're a small country, but we love to travel. We love to find new, beautiful things along the horizon, and then never come back.
I'm going over here, and I'm not coming back. I'm taking my ball, and I'm not coming back. Klaus, do me a huge favor, man. What is something that we can help you celebrate today? Fatherhood for the Rest of Us. What is something we can help you celebrate today?
What can you help me celebrate today? Man, just being on the show for one is a celebration for me. But one big celebration, man, I started my morning routine. As you know, I'm a big fan of morning routines, and I love mine right now. And I woke up at 5, and at 5:20, I was doing my foam rolling, and I had just a crazy epiphany, and it was just silly. And I went online right away, went live to thank somebody, because this is Owen Hemseth, and I had an interview with him 6 months ago. And instead of starting, you just start off real great. Instead of starting with, "Hey, who are you? What's your background story?" Right? And somebody telling like, "Hey, I'm Klaas," and blah blah blah. Because honestly, nobody really cares, right? We want to see, what can you do for me? What kind of nuggets do you have for me? So I was just really scared and nervous of all the interviews that I was doing, and I had him on, and instead of him giving me the opportunity to ask him like, "Hey, Owen, give us a background story," he just went in and just started talking about vision, right? The importance of vision. And it just blew me away, because instead of starting the interview like most people do with introductions, he just went. And what I said, "Kah!" Just hit that home run straight out of the bed. And it didn't really hit me then. It was just like, wow, that's weird. He's changing my interview. And I got even more nervous, right? And then last week he posted a video explaining about his way of doing interviews. And then he also said, like, look, the first thing you need to do is come out with the biggest, most important question of the whole interview. Why? Because everybody gets that info, gets that golden nugget, like the biggest golden nugget straight from the bat, and they get engaged and they stay. And then you talk about who that person is. And it just, I don't know why, I was rolling, and you're just thinking, and I was rolling on that ball, and it hurts, and all of a sudden I'm like, bam, Like, dang, now I understand. I got to do that with my interviews.
Well, man, let's do it. Like, what is your golden nugget for us today? Why are you on the show?
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate that you asking that. So that is actually, at the moment, that was my biggest golden nugget for the day, right? I mean, for myself.
So you're done.
And yeah, right. So thank you for having me on your show. I really appreciate it. No. So that was just for me, but to alliterate on that even more, because I pulled it out that's just a part of the interview, right? That's your way you do an interview, so you make it attractive, and I understand that. But I started pulling that out for myself, as in, okay, what do we do when we meet somebody? You introduce yourself and you immediately start talking, right? Most of us, me included, we start talking. Hey, I'm Klaas, I'm Dutch, and I'm always trying to make it look really cool, like I'm Dutch and I've been all over the world and blah, 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 and this is what I do. And I am the founder of Become a Fearless Father, and I am the founder of Muay Thai Pro, and I am this and I am that, and nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
So now all of a sudden it's like, okay, I gotta find a way to change that around. And what is one of the things that you can give somebody? And it's not just a golden nugget. It's just asking somebody, what do you do? I had somebody, I found it so awesome. Everybody's on social media. Everybody's on Facebook, right? And we just send invites to everybody and we just accept the invites and that's it, right? How many people do you have in your Facebook account? And you've never spoken to each other at all.
Right.
So the point is like, why is that person there? So I at least start, like, everybody that accepts me, I say, hey, thank you for accepting me. And, have a fantastic and inspiring day. And that's it.
Nice.
Now, one person, it was, I think the day before yesterday, he actually beat me to the punch. So I sent him an invite. He accepted. And what did he do? He left me a short recording.
Nice.
Saying, hey, Klaas, thank you for sending me this invite. I really appreciate it. Hey, look, man, I'm all about helping others. If you think there's anything I can do for you, let me know, man. I'll be happy to help you.
Yes.
And I was just like, man, that guy beat me. That guy just taught me something with 30 seconds of his time, making my day because I feel special. Right. And I was like, yo, that's nice, man. I got to work on that even more. Like, and that's the next golden nugget that I want to share with everybody is like, it's okay that he's so far ahead of me, right? Because it's a guy that I've checked him out and he's entrepreneurship. He's further away. He's got older kids. You see on everything that he's got that, he's got it way better together than I do. I hope so, because social media, not everybody posts reality, as we both know, but let's assume for a second that he does. That doesn't matter. What matters is that where am I at, right? So I am the one now reaching out to you, sharing you a little bit message, but what can I do now to make that better than what I did yesterday? What can I do today that makes myself better than yesterday? Always looking at myself. And if I do look at people, like, for example, what you're doing with a fatherhood for the rest of us, with your platform, you're so far ahead from me. So I can be jealous of you. I can be hating. I can be whatever it is that provides negativity for you and as well for me, right?
Right.
Or I can decide, wow, man, I'm going to let myself be inspired by what he's doing. I'm going to let myself be inspired by the message that he shared. I'm going to listen to him, not from a point of negativity. I'm going to go from a point of positivity where I'm going to pick out, hey, what is he doing that I could improve on, that I could use, that I can improve from who I was yesterday, not from who Brandon is, not from whoever you look up to is, but from a standpoint of, I'm going to let myself be inspired to put my standards at a higher level and then walk towards that on a level that I can do it, right?
For sure.
So that's some of the things that have been hitting me this week. I've had a very nice transformative week this week. So
it's always great.
I thought I'd share that right away. So thank you.
I love it. Well, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and tell you who Klaas is, because I don't really do like one of those pull out intros at the beginning of the podcast or anything like that, because I'm lazy. But the deal is, Klaas is, you've been doing Fearless Fatherhood for, you're coming up on around 9 months or so, if I've got my timing right. It seems to me like you started this around middle of 2018. And, Klaas and I connected just through various people. I think we may have connected a little bit through Kenya Zitska, but we also just kind of connected through the whole fatherhood on Facebook. There's quite a group of men that kind of travel in these circles, right? And as you are probably realizing yourself, the longer that you stick around, the more that you realize that there's kind of like this core circle of fathers who continue to promote, engage, and encourage each other to continue in this field of encouraging other fathers to realize the importance of fatherhood. And one of the things that I loved about you was that your first, coming out and you say, I want to reach out and connect with a million fathers, right? And what I love about that, Klaus, is that most people, myself included, when they start, they're like, well, I want to change one person's life. I want to connect with one person, and you just took it to another stratosphere, a whole nother space. And I was like, I really love that ambition about it, right? You set a number, you set a goal, and it's completely achievable, especially with today's environment. How did you, and the other thing I realized too, is I believe your kids, how old are your children?
So I got 2 boys,
Uh-huh.
excuse me. And the youngest one is 3. And the oldest one is 5.
Right. So the other thing I kind of had just a curiosity is what inspired this step into this. It's a tough field. It's a very, very challenging field. That is the challenge is to acquire clients, acquire patrons of your fatherhood service. So what inspired you to, and my kids were, and the reason I asked, because I believe my kids were a similar age when I stepped into it. So I began to start looking at patterns and trends, right? So I'm like, well, is it a pattern? Is it a trend that, the kids are a certain age and fathers realize, just how important fatherhood is? Go ahead and tell me though, like, what is it that, inspires you to jump into it? What's your passion behind it? That type of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I appreciate that question. That goes into my origin story, so to say, of everything pretty much when it comes to fatherhood, right? So we used to live in a different village close to where we live now in Spain. It's a smaller village, and I was all about gym, getting fit, and building my own gym. So I set up my own gym, invested a lot of money, and it all went down the drain. And I lost it. I'm keeping it short, by the way, but the story is a little longer. The nugget there is that if you start something, you always have to put in all your energy. And if you don't have your mind in it and your heart in it, then don't start, because you're going to lose either a lot of time or a lot of money. In my case, this was a time and a lot of money, all my money. And at that moment, Jago was born, and I think Jago was like 3 or 4 months. With me, all of a sudden, no more money, no business, no job, no nothing, just my wife having her job and just stuck, right? So my wife is amazing. Let's share that first of all. She helped me out getting over it, at least taking some really big problems and pains away in like that, right? So that's said that, the partnership is so important, that your wife is not the same as you, but it complements you in the things that you can do. And that's what she did for me. And then in 2 days, crying, right? So you got to, big man.
You got to release it, for sure.
And I was just laying in bed 2 days crying. And I had, of course, my baby boy there. And I was like looking at him and then like, okay, I can't do this. Right? I can't lay here and cry and then have him around. That's not the way it's going to go. So I quickly changed it, looked for a job, found one in England, had to do an interview in Spain, in Barcelona. And they said, why do you want to go to England? I said, I don't actually want to go, but I need a job and my Spanish is not that good. But they said, we're hiring here in Barcelona. So I talked to my wife. She said, yeah, Barcelona would be a little nicer. We'd still be closer to at least her mom. And I'm like, cool. So we moved to there and I start working. And then all of a sudden it hit me. I got this like a similar epiphany. It's like, okay, so now I'm not crying anymore. So now my son doesn't see me as somebody laying in bed not doing anything. But now my son doesn't see me,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
Now I'm traveling to Barcelona, and for people that do not know how Barcelona is, the traffic, just imagine New York City traffic going in and out. That's the same, right? What takes you 15 minutes by car normally, if there's no traffic, takes you like an hour and a half.
Right.
So I just lost a lot of time traveling and just not seeing my son. And then my second son was about to be born, and I'm like, I got to change this. Now, during this time, I already started Muay Thai Pro. So that's my online Muay Thai training business. And I was already working that with a little bit, but it was, and it's still not where we want it to be financially, but it's moving up. And
I'll stop you there for a second, though. I mean, I know you told me the other day you get you sell a couple books a day, and you sell you're making sales online, and I think that once to me, I was impressed because I'm like, look, that's great. Maybe you're not making $1 million a day, maybe you're not making 6 figures a day, but you have uncovered something, and you are making sales on a daily basis. And it's just a matter of time until that truly bears its full fruit, right? You're miles ahead of many other people, so I want to give you some kudos for that. So recognize the fact that you are in a pretty awesome place, right? And as a matter of fact, I'm gonna jump in some more here, Klaus, because I had this thought this morning. A lot of people, way back in the day, it was like, come to America, the land of golden opportunity, right? The streets are paved with gold, but here we are. We're the internet, right? Come to the internet, because the internet streets are paved with gold. And I believe that you're showing this, right? You're in a whole nother land, and a whole nother place that's not the United States of America, and you're having, to me, what I see as tremendous success.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, gold is everywhere. Not necessarily just in the United States. But you have to work for it. That's for one. And man, looking at it now, I wish I knew the things like 3-4 years ago when I started with Muay Thai Pro, the things that I know now. Because it's just, this year it's just been absolutely insane. Like, we indeed have sales every single day, and it's not big amount of money. Like, we're like talking,
it's money. It's passive income. You're not at the cash register tending the till, wasting your time. All of your time has been already invested in it. It is up, it is running. You do not have to be in attendance for it. You are making passive income, and that's impressive.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So yeah, and that at the beginning takes a lot of work, and it takes a lot of work, a lot of time as well, because you're really trying to figure out what to do. And the biggest thing that I learned, and that's why I started coaching now. So we've become a Fearless Father. I'm coaching now fathers to take the same steps as me to become a dadpreneur, and what I call the superhero that their kids need in their lives, right? Because that's so important. And I always try to remind people, you already are a superhero. From the moment that your son, daughter is in the world, and you are their superhero, you are their father, right? However, the question is, and that's a question that every single father must ask right away, and I learned that a little too late, in my opinion now, is just asking yourself, what kind of superhero do I want to be for my kid? Do I want to be that father that just sits around, works all day, my kid doesn't see me, and then I come home, I sit on the couch, I don't do anything, I smoke, I drink, or whatever it is, I treat my wife badly if that's the case, or whatever it is that the superhero that I want to be? Or do I want to be that superhero that has his morning routine, works out, trains, reads, does things with their children in the morning, right? Because for me, I wake up, I do my morning routine for 2 hours, my kid's starting to wake up, and I can just focus purely on them. Right. And that's what I want. That's for me, right?
Right.
And the same, now I got all the time in the world because they're in school, but as soon as it's 5 o'clock, the first thing they will see when they get through that door is my face, right? Is mine. Nice. They will be holding my arms first, and then we go to the park, and then we all go nuts. And I mean nuts. I always tell everybody I am the biggest kid in the freaking park every single time, as much as possible, as much as my energy allows.
Right.
And
Klaus, let me do this real quick because I know we've got some time constraints on us today. One thing I want to know that we can share with the audience is look, each coach has a different approach to their program. If I was to sign up to coach today with Klaas van Oosterhout, what would the process look like? So what type of coaching can I expect to receive when I sign up with you?
Beautiful question. I like that. So for me, the most important thing, right, is, and I've learned that a lot from other coaches, because that's why I started working with the coach and he's teaching me. And man, the guys that I'm working with, so I'm working with Niji Sobo and I'm working with Craig Cassidy. Actually, one is from the US and the other one is from Australia. So trying to figure out the most furthest away places on one end and the other end for myself.
4 hours distance.
Yup. But these guys, what makes them such good coaches, and that's the way that I work, is they talk to you, but they ask you questions, the right questions that they need. So they're first trying to really figure out, where are you at? Where do you want to go? And then trying to figure out that, and just that, most people do not have that. Most people do not know where they are, truly are, being real with themselves. And then most people most of them don't know where they want to go. So that will be the first process of really figuring out, okay, but what is it that you really want, right? Now, from there, what I've discovered is what's so important and what helps every single father is gaining clarity of what's most important to you. And I keep saying, for most of the people that believe in God, God comes first, right? So that's God. For me, I'm a spiritual man. For me, my kids come first. Even though I'm a spiritual man, I don't believe in God. My kids come first for me, and then my wife. There's others that say, no, my wife comes first, and then my kids. But I want to just make sure that for people that really try to sit down, and that will be the first thing that I really will work on with any father out there, is trying to determine what's most important for you. And in that way, you're going to approach everything that you need to do to step up your game, right? So that way, if something happens,
so Klaas, if I come up to you and I say God is the most important thing to me, my wife, and then my children, what do we do after that?
So after that, we will determine, like, how do you see your ultimate picture when it comes to you and God, right? How do you see your ultimate picture and once we figure that out, then we go to the next step. How do you see your ultimate vision, your ultimate dream towards your life with your wife, with your partner, right?
Okay.
How do you see yourself as a father when it comes to your kids, raising your kids, responding to them, right? When they react, etc. And you build from there. And then after that, you're really going to start making a plan. Okay, so what needs to happen to make that all a reality? Trying to make sure, because that's the biggest thing that happens, right? For example, I see people writing, like, I take my wife on dates every single week. Or there's people that go every single day to church, right?
Okay.
And then other people are like, yeah, but I can't go every day to church. I want to, but I can't, right? So we go into the negatives, and a lot of people then fall into that negative, looking for the excuses why we can't, while there's so many other different. So what I try to focus on then is, okay, how can we make sure that you can? Or how can we make sure that what we do next is the next best step towards achieving that ultimate dream? Because that's the most important thing.
So you're setting them up with like a little bit of momentum, and you're helping them overcome some limiting beliefs?
Absolutely. So the biggest thing is that once you have that goal, or the biggest trap, I should say, is once you have that goal, once you have that vision might be really far away, right? It might be an ultimate picture, just a huge dream that you want to achieve. Let's say, for example, you want $1 million and now you're making zero, right? You can't assume that in a week you're going to make $1 million. I mean, I wish.
Why not, Klaus?
Yeah, you never know.
Yeah, that sounds like a limiting belief to me, Klaus.
Yeah, it is, but everything is possible. However, you need some sort of strategy towards getting there. And then
Sure.
it's better to focus first on how can I make my first $7 or how can I make my first buck
Right.
online. So you know how to repeat this to get to that million.
Right.
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 And
this is and just to interject, I mean that's why like I find that what you're doing is exciting because you have made your first buck, you have made your first, you have repeat customers, you have a process that's working. And my assumption is that right now it's just a matter of tweaking it, right? It's the fine tuning until you get it adjusted, until you create the vision that you're talking about, right? And now it's not even necessarily that you're telling these people to do something or trying to accomplish something that you've never done or haven't gone through before. You have this experience. You have been doing it for a while now. You've also had the experience of failing in a business and getting back up again. And you know what that process is like too. So you know all of these things. And I think that that's exciting. And I think that to me, those are some of the things that you bring to the table. So it sounds like you've got a pretty cool process working. What are the time frames that you work? Do you do like 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, whatever it takes, 1 month at a time? What's that look like?
So at the moment, it's just 1 month at a time.
Okay.
Right. And the reason for that is simple. I know there's a lot of people out there that say, you have to commit for 6 months and 12 months or whatever it is. And the most important thing is, besides that, is there has to be a click between a coach and the one that's being coached.
For sure.
If there's not a click. Right. Now, sure, we can be on the phone for 15 minutes, and then after the 15 minutes, we will talk for an hour, and then we can sense somewhat of a click where we can say, okay, let's work together. I really feel comfortable with you.
Right.
However, that's still no guarantee. So I'm going to commit you to 6 months or 12 months of your time, never knowing how exactly it's going to go. Maybe you outgrow me in a month. Then what? I hope so. That means I've done my job really well, right?
Sure.
But it happens.
Sure. Right. Right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So I start off each month, and we'll just take it from there. And that's the most important thing. Just deliver as much value as I can towards anybody that works with me, and just make sure that you get all the results. And hey, sometimes I helped one person, actually not a father in this case, but and she's making now way more money than I am. It's ridiculous. And it was just just listening to her, asking her a couple of questions and saying, look, it seems like you need to do this, this, and this as next step. Try it. Yeah, but I'm scared to do that. Then that's exactly what you need to try. And hopefully you succeed. But if you fail, that's great too, because you learn a lesson from it and then for the next time. And she landed that $5,000 client.
Nice.
And that was like, oh.
Nice. So look, I mean, you're getting results, so that's also awesome. You're getting results. I want to direct people to your YouTube page, Fearless Fathers, for a couple of reasons. Fearless Fatherhood. One is because I'm on there, and what I like about where I am, there's a couple things that you have on here, which so you've got your interviews. You do a great job of also breaking up your interviews, which is also something that is highly recommended. You break up different interviews into sections, which I like. Just pulling out some of the nuggets of the full thing. That's very nice and convenient. You also have up there, and I'm not sure, I didn't know whether or not this was intentional or not, but so you do your video messages as an introduction to random people. And I don't mean like random, but like the people that you want to have an interview with. And I went through the list of who you kind of want to do an interview with, but you have people up there like Michael Jordan. I want to find the list real quick here. Where is the videos reaching out to? So you've got this playlist, the videos reaching out to fathers, like Tim Ferriss, Larry Hagner, Jim Shields, Dwayne Johnson, Robert Kiyosaki, and I was like, man, that's ballsy, and I love that because that is fearless, right? You're going after it. And the other part that was really awesome was finding my name squished in there, like in between, like with all these people. And I was like, man, that's, that makes me feel good. So I don't know why, you left those messages up there, but it was pretty cool to see that, this is what you're going after. And I think that, that to me is also impressive. I'd love to have you talk about that. But then again, we've also only got a couple moments. So I'm going to do a rapid fire thing here for you, Klaus. At the end of most of these, ask a couple standard questions. So what does fatherhood mean to you?
It means complete rapid fire. You said, right? I have to repeat short.
Yep.
Okay. No, because
Yes.
we still got over 20 minutes if you want.
Oh, do we? Okay.
So rapid fire, fatherhood, what does it mean to me? It just means being the best example you can for your kids, inspiring them every single day and being inspired by them. Because in the end, our kids teach us more about ourselves than we can. And we can learn from ourselves.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. What is like one of the biggest things that you've learned about yourself through that journey?
Energy. Energy is everything. And what I mean by that is that because I saw that I needed to be there for my kids and I wanted to be crazy with my kids to show them that, it's okay to be crazy. My energies went because I wasn't fit. And that was one of the biggest lessons. I got to be fit. I got to train. My mind and my body got to be fit to give my all when it's necessary, when I'm with my kids. And the other one is patience. So patience, in the beginning, I sometimes just wanted to, and then please, people don't start suing me or whatever, but I wanted to just throw my kid out the window, right?
It's tough, yeah.
I mean, I think everybody had that situation. I didn't grab him and throw him out the window. I just, it came to your head. It's like, why doesn't he stop crying? What's wrong with this kid? Now I turn it around. Now I learn, no, what's wrong with me? What am I not doing right? And just take a couple of deep breaths and then approach it differently. But what we're all trying to do is we're trying to achieve the same thing, right? I got 2 kids now, and they're both completely different. The second one is just, sometimes I call him Diablo, which means devil, right? He's just nuts. I go to school, pick him up, and then they tell me again, oh, you hit a kid again. Oh, he pushed a girl's face in the ground again. It's like, why does he do this? And then I saw him in the park the other day with his big shoes, and he just kicked a girl in the head. And I'm like, why?
It's not funny, but I can totally relate because my younger son is, I just wonder too, is that just a second child? Because they've also, they've got the older one and they've got to try and make a name for themselves or something. So I can sympathize, sir.
See, and that's the thing. Everybody's saying, yeah, it's a second child. And then I'm going, okay, so what are we doing wrong, right? It's not just, it's a second child. Because, no. There's something inconsistently that us as fathers are not doing the right way to make sure that the second child, and that's the way that I see it. Because what we're trying to do is like, you first were focused and you only had to focus on one child.
Sure.
Right? And then just raise him, and that was easy because it was only one. And then you thought that you had the second one, so it was easier because you could do the same thing. And that's not working. Right? So now with Alex, with our youngest one, I'm just trying different approaches.
Sure.
Now, I tried spanking him on the ass when he hit somebody and stuff like that. Is it working? No. So we look for something else, right? Some kids that works. I mean, I spanked my oldest one once, and the message came through, and it never happened again. Right. Now, I don't condone spanking, by the way. I know I'm talking about it, but I know because it's the biggest example that makes the biggest impact, because everybody, when you talk about spanking, it's like, whoa. So,
I was just going to edit it out, Klaus.
Oh, that's okay. So you call it snee. So you have to find different things. Okay, so now what? I'm going to take away his toys. So if you do this, I'm going to take away that toy. You're not going to see it for a week. Does that help? No. Okay, so I go to the next. No, but what do? We try to do the same thing every single time and hoping that we get a different result, right?
Sure, yeah.
And that doesn't work. It just doesn't work. So now, this is fun. This is when you're going to laugh. So now I am going to do it all positive. Everything that he does great, I say positive. So this is what happens now. Alex showered himself. He's 3, right? So I showered him, but then he dried himself off. He got himself dressed. He brushed his teeth. So, and he was really nice, good, no complaints. So I was really happy. So I tell him, Alex, you did a great job. His big brother sitting next to him. Well, what about me?
Right. Yeah. Well, hey, look, you got to carry that across the plane. I love that you stumbled across that too. Right. It sounds to me too like one of the things that and this was for me, and you can tell me that if this has happened for you. Doing these podcasts introduces you to so many other ways of the approaches. And then another thing for me doing these podcasts and these interviews is like these conversations really reinstill who I am and what I'm about. And so I have to walk the talk. If I'm not walking the talk, I shut up about it. I stop
Mhm.
talking about it. I can't talk about it if I'm not doing it. Has that been similar for you?
No, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I totally agree. So what you teach, what you preach is first, you got to try it yourself, right? You can't be telling somebody, oh, this is what you got to do. Now you can, of course, you can, but
I can't. I lit my body. Like I am unable to physically, right? Like I can't do it. It's interesting, and I appreciate it, right?
well, you can give somebody advice in regards to, for example, I don't have girls, so I can't, I can't relate. I can't, but you can give somebody advice.
Sure.
I mean,
Sure.
I'm not doing it because I don't have daughters, but I can give you advice on it.
Right.
But not in a sense like, oh yeah, this is what you must do. I actually don't really. I think anybody tells me this is what you must do, then all my hairs go up, and it's exactly not what I do, even though it might be the best thing for me.
Sure. I think that the idea is to share your experience, and this has been my experience. This is how we approached it, and this is what worked for me, right?
Yep.
What was your relationship like with your father?
Really good, like, and still is.
Mm-hmm.
However, he was I can't. I'll go in a little bit back more than that, just because the great thing that I found about my dad and also my mom is that they have broken through their childhood. Like they didn't have as good a childhood as I had. And they really changed, the whole thing around. And now we're all, as a family, working towards making that continue to my children, right?
Right.
And my dad was a typical father where he just went to work every single day. Like I wouldn't see him in the morning, and I would hardly see him at night.
Right.
Just because he worked, and he worked far away. Like I think it was like an hour and a half by train, and then coming back is also an hour and a half. But all my memories of him have always been fun and always will be, like always helping me every single time, and always positive. And the only thing I missed, and that's what my mom brought to the table now lately, is just the whole thing about being an entrepreneur, making an impact in the world. And that's what we're working on together. So Muay Thai Pro, for example, is a business that I have together with my mom, right?
Okay.
So family is everything. My dad's great, and he's an amazing grandfather. And the reason for that is just that because they are both so conscious towards their health and their energy, and that's what they're working on. They just started their own business. At the 65, they just started their own new business, online business, working on that, right? Age with Care, it's called, and they're working towards sharing what they learned as people that now don't have jobs anymore. They're living their pension, right?
Right.
But they're sharing their nuggets with people as what we're doing now with fathers, and that's inspiring for me, and that's going to be inspiring for my kids as well.
Love it. What is something that your father did that you find yourself doing as a father?
Staying back. So what I mean by that is that he will let me figure things out, and he will let me literally fall on my face. However, he was always there. And that's exactly what I do. So I let them, for example, when they're playing on the playground, I let them play instead of going all the time, ooh, be careful with this, ooh, be careful with that,
Right.
And they fall, and not immediately start running towards them and seeing if they're okay. No, let them fall and let themselves pick themselves up. Just make sure that you're always there. My dad, just to give you an idea, right? He let me play out. There was a soccer field right behind our house. He let me play with big guys. Like I was young, and I was playing with adults soccer, and he would just let me do it. However, when they would come out with alcohol or start to smoke marijuana, and as you know, in the Netherlands, marijuana smoking is legal. he would immediately be there and call me in and take me away from that situation because he knew where that leads to, right?
Sure.
And that's the thing. I think the biggest thing that I learned from him is like, you gotta give somebody the opportunity to make their own mistakes and grow on their own. But whenever it's necessary, and it's still up until this day, if I need him, boom. If I call him right now and say, look, I can't handle right now as you know, my mother-in-law is right next door. She's very sick. I think we're in the last 2 weeks of her life. Wow. And I'm taking care of her. And it's very hard. It's very tough. Sure. I'm running a business. I'm running my kids. I'm doing everything. I know if I call him right now and I tell him, Dad, I can't handle it, he'll be here in 4 hours. It takes 4.5 to get here. Right. You know what I mean? And that is, I think, the biggest thing I learned from him and the biggest thing that I do as well for my kids.
I like that. I think it's really impressive, to have that. And it's also important to allow the children to build some type of resilience, right? Mm-hmm. That then sounds like that's what he taught you. So I like that a lot. Let's say 10 years goes by and you have to leave a message for your children today that they're going to receive in 10 years. What would you like to thank them for?
What would I like to thank them for? For helping me, how do I say this? For helping me improve myself every single day. I do it for them, not as much anymore now as in the beginning. In the beginning, I really needed that, like, I'm doing this for them. Now I also do it for me because I've got that motivation. I am there now, right? But I needed that first thing, and that's thanks to my kids. And then also just for the joy, for the absolute joy that they bring in my life. I mean, both my kids, they're just the biggest joy moments are when they're playing and all of a sudden they just stop playing, turn around. I don't know why. And then they just come at you and they just want to give you a hug. They just want to give you a kiss, right? Yeah. And it just lights up your world to have that happen to you, right? That unconditional love that just comes out of nowhere. Right. And they know I'm a sucker for hugs. So when I get mad, they just go hug, hug, hug. And then, my madness is gone because I can't resist not giving a hug. That's
for sure.
Right. So it would be definitely that.
That's huge. That's huge. I love that. And you know what I heard in there, Klaas, and this is something that, I'm personally still working on how to really introduce this to others. Maybe this is something you could help me with is, when people talk about the children being a blessing, right? Mm. And children are a gift, right? To me, the children are a gift in the fact that they help you to see who you truly are. And that's what I'm hearing you say. Would that be correct?
No, absolutely. That's absolutely correct.
Yeah. How do you present that to other people? Like, how do you present that very fact to others?
That's a great question. So I think there's also some things that you do just unconsciously, right? So sometimes you really have to think like, oh yeah, how do I do that? Well, for one, as you know, I go live every single day and I share what happened to make sure that people see what it does, right? And I think I think actually you and I talked about this, that in the media, in the movies and everything, being a dad is just so negatively published. I don't know who shared it on Facebook, where there's a picture of some famous musician when he was young, and then when he had 1 kid, 2 kids, and when he had like 3 kids or more, you saw him old and gray, and that's what we as media show. No, getting kids will make you old, and it's like, no, it doesn't.
Right.
If you think it does, then absolutely,
for sure.
But it shouldn't. Kids give you life. Mm. I love Tony Robbins always said, I keep listening to him every single day. And of course, then I hear him repeating it every single day, happiness comes from progress, daily progress. Every single day we need to make progress in life to be happy, right? To feel good about ourselves. And my kids make sure that I make daily progress because they will make sure that I come across my failures either as a father, as a husband, as a man, so much faster than I could myself, because
Right.
they do things and unconsciously. We think too much. They don't. So they do things that will just hit you in the face, and you're like, yeah, he's right. Ah, that makes sense, right? They will go and have fun. You give, no, good best example. You give them a huge gift, right? And what do they play with? The
The
box,
box, the goddamn box, Klaus.
right? But it's that, so we get upset because they don't play with what cost you, let's say $100,
Right.
right? But look at it differently. Step backwards, step out of that ego and look. And what is it teaching you? It teaches you that they're happy with whatever is around them, whatever they can play with at that moment, because
Yes,
it's
sir.
new and exciting. And then we get something new, and we don't have that excitement for some reason anymore. And that's something I'm still trying to work on, is really find that excitement, find that energy that I used to have of something new happening, and boom. Now it's more like we're afraid of something new because we also failed. We hurt ourselves with trying new things, right? Trying that new girlfriend, she dumped you. Trying that, she started cheating you like massively, and it's like, oh no, I'm going to take it really slow or
Right.
whatever, right? So,
Right.
but then you didn't think that way. You didn't even know it. So whatever, it doesn't matter, And I'm trying to teach my kids is like, fail as often as possible. Just go, but keep going, just keep going, take action, love it,
Right.
and just love the journey, love it. And that's, yeah, sorry, I went on the rant.
No, you're good. You're good. You're good. I think though the part here too is right. Like, how do we discuss and how do we share that, what a gift children are to us? What is it that makes them the gift? And I think that in what you're saying there is they're showing us that there can be happiness simply with what's around us. There can be happiness in simplicity. It's what we've allowed ourselves to build up around ourselves that is causing this discomfort, and we'll call it this dis-ease, right? That we have. These are learned tendencies, as we can see simply by witnessing our children as they are happy with who's around them and what's going on, whereas we have to relearn that, and we are able to do that by watching our children. Does that sum it up?
I just want to add something. It just popped in my head right now.
Sure.
As in giving you the example of giving a box to the kid, and then they get the gift, and then they don't play with the gift, they play with the box.
Mm-hmm.
While we, of course, we play with the gift, we don't play with the box anymore. And actually, it just hit in my head. It's like, but that's the same thing with our wife. She brings us that gift, right? And what do? Not what we should do, and that's also play with the box. Now, sorry, that sounds weird, but I mean,
double entendre. Go ahead. You're
right?
okay.
We
Yeah.
You got to make sure as well that you continue to pay attention, and show appreciation to the one that gave you that gift. So often we forget that gift was carried by our wives for 9 months, right?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, now it's like we get mad at her for stupid things, for not having sex with us because we are horny and she's not.
Right.
For telling us something that's actually the truth, but we do not want to hear it, so we get upset with her instead of being upset with ourselves, right?
Sure.
I mean, I help her out with the laundry. I can't fold for shit, dude. So, and then she says, like, dude, can you just for once do it? And you get mad with her because she's trying to help you actually learn the way how to fold something. But just like, why are you not happy because I'm helping you? It's like, no,
Sure.
just, right? So that's another thing. Be happy with the gift, but be also stay happy and appreciative of, the box where they came out of. That sounds really unappreciative, but you know what I mean?
I think that, take that away. I don't think that nobody, the message is clear. So the message is, and I think that the message is true, right? Don't take for granted those loved ones in your life, especially, your wife, because she is a huge part of the whole experience. And sometimes that's easy to forget. And sometimes, I think that as men too, we tend to think that the whole world's on our shoulders and that we're trying to do this all by ourselves. And we forget that we're partnered up with somebody else in this.
Mm-hmm.
Great message, Klaus. I love that. Where can I send people to find Fearless Fatherhood. Klaas van Oosterhout.
Love it. So I think the biggest where we're all at is on Facebook, Become a Fearless Father page. That's the biggest one. And of course, you already mentioned, like, I'm on YouTube with Become a Fearless Father. I'm on iTunes now. I learned from Andy Stork. So that funny story for next time. So Become a Fearless Father. If you click it on iTunes podcast as well, you'll find me there. And I got a special closed Facebook group for all dadpreneurs out there, where Kenyon is in, and you as well, and other fathers out there that are also entrepreneurs, because we're a different kind of breed. So we have different challenges, and we're trying to think for really, really different and special. So I got a special group for that. So if you are a dadpreneur, then please come join us. It's a great group, and we help each other out grow as fast as possible and face our challenges head on and kill them as fast as possible as well. And that's pretty much, yeah. And then becomeafearlessfather.com, of course.
Awesome, man. Well, listen, keep up what you're doing. I think what you're doing is really special. You are, you're encouraging others. You're encouraging me. You're reinvigorating me. I've been at this for a couple of years now. And, it's really encouraging to see you approach it the way that you are. You are approaching it with full passion, with full energy. And, I think that shows. So continue doing what you're doing, because it's really encouraging for all people, all fathers especially.
I appreciate it, and I'm really looking forward with continue to work with you and Kenyon on getting our book out. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. So everybody that's
It's
listening,
bestseller.
Yep, exactly. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. So
That's right. I look forward to that.
That's another step for all of us, and I think that's important, right? To keep moving forward towards realizing our passion and of making an impact in the lives of fathers that are struggling with whatever that is, because every day it's a different struggle, right?
For sure.